"19 years old. Friday night, 7 p.m. Martin Luther King long weekend. Home visiting from UC Santa Barbara. Calling Paul's house, short for her Paul, an Indian guy friend, to see if our group of friends might be interested in a movie." His father answered, "Hi, Uncle, this is Rajshree. Are Paul and Glenn back from San Diego yet?" "Who is it?" "This is Rajshree, Uncle. We met at your house over Christmas break. How are you?" You see, Indian parents love me. Of course, Paul's dad would too. "Oh, I know you. You're that whore, is it? Running around with that Filipino boy." He was referring to my ex-boyfriend. "I'm sorry, sir, what? I'm just calling to see if Paul and Glenn are back yet. Yes, you are that slut, is it, aren't you?" I realized he was drunk. Still, I had never been spoken to like this by an Indian elder. Sir, yes, this is Rajshree, sir, but I haven't done anything wrong. Don't you talk back at me." "No, sir, I'm not talking back. I just calling my house in the middle of the night asking for my son." It's 7 o'clock, sir. We're only friends." "Look, you whore. Don't you ever call my house ever again. Do you hear me?" "Yes, sir. I did have a boyfriend. We're no longer seeing each other. I didn't do anything wrong." "Shut up, you whore." He hung up. I was 19, and up until recently had been dating my boyfriend, who happened to be Filipino. My parents, also hurt and angry, refused to call him and tell him off because he was right on the one count that I had been seeing a Filipino boy. Of course, I expected Paul to take his dad's side. Somewhere deep down, I knew he would. It was still hurtful when he did. I wonder whether Paul's dad knew that Paul was dating my boyfriend's Filipina sister at the time. 20 years later, when I was 39, an Indian neighbor, much, much younger than me, had hit on me. He wouldn't stop when I told him to, reminding him I was married, and said he got more aggressive. I slapped him, and I left the situation. I told my husband about it afterward because it's kind of scary when a guy won't stop when you ask him to. "Whore, slut," screamed my husband. My ex-husband. We were at the food court in the mall having this Jerry Springer moment. You see, it was my fault for being at the ice cream parlor and in the situation in the first place where our neighbor could hit on me. I'm sorry, I get hit on all the time. It's up to me to draw that line and say no. Woo! Was I a whore and a slut every time a guy hit on me? Is that what makes a whore and a slut? Obviously, none of these Indian men really knew. Whether they really didn't know, they didn't know back then, they don't know now what a whore and a slut is. My husband I can divorce. Paul's dad, now that I'm older and have a voice to stand up for myself, I'd like to track that one down. I want to find him, dressed up in tall boots, my skinny jeans, and ask him, "So, old man, are you getting ready to die, is it? Do you remember me? Yeah, I'm that girl you called a whore and a slut. It doesn't matter that I'm a college professor, that I'm a writer, that I was a good wife, that I take care of my parents, nieces, nephews, and goddaughter. You have no right to say anything like that to a young girl. You had no right to say such things to me. Was my crime being attractive and American-born? Being in a short-lived monogamous relationship until I left to go away to college? Being loved, treated well and respectfully? Whore? That's what they think when the girl is attractive, has presence, dresses nicely, and whom passers-by admire. People say, Indian people have said, that I'm whitewashed, that I'm not Indian enough. It's self-preservation, not Indian enough. I'm sorry, I wake up every morning, and when I look in the mirror, guess what? I'm already Indian. I don't have to do a thing. I dress a certain way. I act a certain way. I get those snooty Indian aunties who, you know, are of that higher caste or higher class, or whatever the hell they think they are, higher than me, treating my family like shit. I get them to follow me around. That's self-preservation. That's what I do. Fuck me for not being Indian enough. Back to Paul's dad. You have a granddaughter, right? Well, the kids these days, dude, let me tell you, I'm American-born too, and we were rebellious, but we were different. These girls grew up watching half-dressed pop stars like Britney Spears. Sir, you don't even want to know what your 17-year-old daughter is up to. I saw her out the other night. Tight little outfit, too much makeup, spiked heels, short dress that barely covers her ass, tits and cleavage spilling over the top of her dress. Here's a picture. You'd have been real proud of her tight little body, long hair draping down her back. The definition of modesty. I know you're from a different culture, that you have different expectations and values from people like me. I don't care. Tell me, you misogynistic, racist farmer, what made you think you could pass judgment on me? If you want to bring caste into it, well, hell, at least I'm not some untouchable Harijan like you. Oh, is that not supposed to matter in this country anymore, caste? Oops. Well, it's okay, isn't it, to remind you of your caste? Doesn't matter how hard you've worked to drag your family out of poverty. You'll always be a low-life, mean bastard to me. Die well. Die soon. At least one person on this earth will not mourn your passing.